Welcome to How to Yu-Gi-Oh!
Deck Profile Beast Fighter Tri-Brigade version.
Chapter 1.
Okay, so in this video, I'm gonna talk about this deck, and we'll see how it goes. With that being said, let's get on with the rest of the video.
Chapter 2. Chapter 3. Chapter 4. Chapter 5.
Alrighty then, let's go for the first test hand with the Beast Fighter deck Tri-Brigade version. Draw. Gladiator Beast Augustus. Draw. Tri-Brigade Rendezvous. Draw. Flavian Colosseum of the Gladiator Beast. Draw. Tri-Brigade Revolt. And final card, draw. Fire Formation Tenki. Alright then, let's build the board. Okay, so let's start. First, we'll activate Fire Formation Tenki. This will allow us to add the Beast Warrior, Tri-Brigade Fractal. We'll activate Tri-Brigade Fractal's effect, sending it to the graveyard, in order to send a Tri-Brigade monster from our deck to the graveyard. we will send Nerval. Okay? Nerval will activate, allowing us to add Keras. So Keras has been added. So this will be in our hand now.
Nice!
Now, from here, things will happen. If you've gotten hit by Droll, then it's really rough, as this deck is really gonna hard lose to Droll.
The truth you need to know.
But it's not over, as there are things we can do. So at this point, we will normal summon the Keras that's there, right? We will use its effect, we'll banish it, right? In order to link summon. So since our board isn't the best, we're gonna link summon, cheat out a summon, which will be the Ancient Warrior. So we have a disruption, right?
That's really convenient.
There we go. Now, what we'll do here is really quite interesting. So we'll activate our field spell, right? We'll activate our field spell if I just move that there. So I'll just move it there so you can see everything. I'll activate the field spell, which will be there. And if we just move see there, there's the field spell. Then we'll activate Flavian's effect, discarding a card from our hand. So we'll discard this card, okay? In order to add ourselves a Gladiator Beast monster. So we'll add ourselves the Gistel. Gistel is right there, right? Nice, absolutely spice. So at this point, we are going to then we're going to reveal the effect of Gistel. Special summon them both. Gistel's effect activates. This means we'll add ourselves a Gladiator Beast spell or trap. We'll add Rejection with that card's effect. Rejection will now be activated. At this point, we will not... so now that we've got Rejection, obviously we've activated, let's just go down here. You can see it there, right? So at this point, this is where it's going to be really quite interesting. So what we will do at this point is we will link summon. We will link summon those two, right? And we'll go into the Test Panther. You see, at this point, I could activate a Gladiator Beast Test Panther's effect, but because I already have Revolt in my hand, I don't really need to. So I will just use its effect to return this back into the deck to special summon a Gladiator Beast monster from our deck.
Smooth.
Hopefully we haven't gotten hit by a Vela. If not, then we'll special summon, this from our deck, and then Rejection will activate its effect, special summoning this other Gladiator Beast monster. We will then fuse those two, okay? Contact fusion. Bring ourselves into Editor, right? Editor's effect, allowing us to special summon the Domitius for monster effect. And then we would set this card, the Revolt. So this is how our board is. So overall, we have the Ancient Warrior's Oath Double Dragon Lords. With its effect, as it says there. So we've got a disruption with that. We can bounce a card, I think by sending itself, I believe. We've got a monster negate with Domitius. And at the end of the turn, obviously, when we end our turn with the field spell, this will allow us to set, because we've successfully shuffled a card, this. So we'll have another monster negate there. And also, please remember, right? Please remember that there. Now, what we could also do is we could also link those two off, right? To get ourselves the Ferrugite. G, obviously there, so we can put that in the graveyard and then end our turn. And that's generally it. So on our opponent's turn, we'll activate Revolt, Link Summon into Shuraig, and then we would have a disruption, whatever, and things go from there. So let's go to test hand number 2. Okay, test hand number 2. Draw the field spell, draw another field spell, draw. We've got the Dark Ruler no more, a draw. We've got Rejection, the one of, and draw. We have Tenki. All right then, let's make the board. So, things are going to be a bit different. First, we're going to activate the effect of Flavian. We'll discard our spare field spell in order to activate and add ourselves the Gestel, our one of, because we play just the one of, right? Which is nice. The good thing is here, we don't need to search Rejection as it's already in our hand. Next, we're going to just be having a Gladiator Beast board. We're going to then go into Tenki. Tenki, right? Unless we've gotten hit by a draw. If we've not, we're pretty much okay. We're going to add ourselves a beast warrior.
That sounds oddly familiar.
It's not going to be Fractal. It's going to be this bad boy, which is Darius, right? Very important. Next, we will use Gestel's effect. Special summon them both. Use the effect of Gestel. Since it was special summoned via Gladiator Beast effect, we can add via its own effect, we can add a Gladiator Beast spell or trap. And here's where we'll add Comeback. Very important. The one of. We're playing one of in this deck. We don't really need an out of Comeback a lot. So let me just look at it, and here it is, Comeback. And so we'll move that there. Right. What is very interesting here, as what we will do is we will activate that. We will then Link Summon. At this point, we will therefore make Test Panther. And what's the great thing about this deck? We do not need to use Test Panther's effect, as we already added a card that we needed. So Test Panther is just Link Summoned.
Nice!
We would activate the effect of Comeback there, revive the Darius, okay, used Test Panther's effect, which is shuffle that back in, go special summon from our deck, because obviously it's a Gladiator Beast Monster's effect, Noxious. Rejection will do the thing. Bringing back, so the play is familiar to us all, so we'll get this back. We will then Contact Fuse, right, which is nice. Getting ourselves into a play that you're familiar with, so we'll go into Editor. Editor will then special summon the Domitians. So there is our monster negate. We would then link those two off, go into Mouser. Mouser's effect activates, right? So I would send, on Link Summon, send from the extra deck, Rampager, and therefore I would send, which is nice, let's see, we'll send Nerval, right? And remember, I haven't normal summoned this turn. Nerval's effect would act, so these two effects will activate Chainlink 1, Chainlink 2 in the graveyard. So Nerval will add myself, Keras. I'll add myself Keras. You have to remember, I haven't normal summoned this turn. And the Rampager will add ourselves Revolt, returning back the Dark Ruler in my hand back into the deck. Now at this point, I will normal summon Keras, right? I will normal summon Keras. I'll put it there so it doesn't involve with the link marker. As you can see, Mouser is right there. What's important is I will set the Revolt onto the field. We will then link summon those two, which will be, I think before we do that, we would activate the effect of Keras, banishing the Nerval and the Gistel to bring ourselves back, to bring once again the Ancient Warriors Dragon Lords. I would then link those two off, get us into the... Okay, maybe move that there so we have space. Get us into possibly that, which is nice. Moving that, whatever. And then, because that's the board right now, and then we would end our turn. Obviously, this would activate, and this would get to reset at the end of the turn. I'd reset a card that you're all familiar with, which is that. So I have another monster negate, and things would be interesting right there. So again, on my opponent's turn, things would be a bit different. So when they'd activate a card, I'd therefore activate Revolt. I'd special summon back with Revolt, obviously, the Mouser, the Keras, and the Nerval. I would then link summon, obviously, those four into the Shireg. Several things would happen. I'd be able to Book of Moon, a monster, and then search. Also, you have to remember, I also have a disruption. I can bounce a card by sending this. I wouldn't need that anymore. And so you get to see we can do quite a lot of things. And that's the second board. Again, we are going to lose to a Droll and Lockbird, but as you can see, we don't really need to search that much. I think Nibiru is going to hurt this deck as well, but it's all in good fun. I think we can you can dodge around Imperm, whatever. It's not so bad. You can do things. Anyways, let's go to the final test hand and see how it goes. Okay, let's do the final test hand. Draw. Tri-Brigade Kit. Draw. The Revolt. Draw. The Keras. Draw. The Fractal, and draw the final card, the Nerval. Okay, let's do this. So this is a very interesting hand. This is a Tri-Brigade hand. So how are we going to bridge into Gladiator Beast? Well, you're going to see that in a minute. First of all, we're going to activate the effect of Keras, right? We'll be sending the kit in order to special summon it. Nice. Kit's effect will activate, allowing us to send a Tri-Brigade spell or trap from our deck to the graveyard. We'll be sending Rendezvous. Always send Rendezvous at that point. What's going to be interesting is I'm going to activate the effect of Fractal. Fractal is going to send it from the hand, to the graveyard. And then we're going to send a beast. A level 3 or lower beast. So at this point, we will send the one of Laquiari, right? Very interesting. So what will we do at this point? What we'll do at this point is we will then normal summon the Nerval, activate the effect of Keras, banish the two, here's where we are in a bit of a pickle. If the test panther is negated, it's negated, but we're going to need it. So we will cheat out test panther, right? Test panther's effect will activate, hopefully. And with that, we will allow us to add ourselves the comeback. And from here, several things will happen. So we'll activate comeback, right? So we'll add a comeback because Test Panther on the link summon, we can whatever and be cheated up with that. Anyways, we'll bring back the Laquiari. Laquiari will return this back into the deck. This allows us to special summon a Gladiator Beast, and that will be treated as a Gladiator Beast monster effect, which will we will therefore trigger our one-off, which will be our boy Gistel. Gistel's effect will activate. This allows us to add a Gladiator Beast card. So this hand, unfortunately, will lose to draw. But if draw
And our
hasn't
final
been
grading
done,
for this
then you're
deck
still okay.
is C.
If that gets veiled, there's other things you can do.
Indeed.
I'll show
With,
you just a minute. We'll add the field spell. Field
Beast
spell
Fighter,
will be
the
activated.
Tri-Brigade
We will
version,
not use
I
the
feel
field
like
spell as a
there's a
fact.
lot of things in this deck.
Okay.
I think with
We
the
will
current
then link some
meta is,
of
and the
those
current
two.
game is, it's a C.
go
It's not going
into
to do much. While yes, it could
Mauser-
at times, dodge, draw, and
Mauser's
block
effect
bird.
will activate,
If you get a good hand, I think draw
summon,
when you're losing
sending
draw is when your
ourselves.
hand is really not
So
the
we
best.
will send
It's not really a deck that plays a lot of hand traps. We're playing more board breaker style
send
versions, and more to
Rampager,
the fact with how the deck is. I think I've showed how the deck
send-
plays and so forth.
there's
But
also,
yeah, that's why I feel it's
Nerval as
the
well.
deck is a
And then
grading
we
of
will
C. It's not. It's better than where it was before. I believe. I think I mentioned it
Anyways,
on the channel before.
these
But it's
two
not to the
will
level where
trigger.
the improvements
So
are. I
one,
think it
Nerval
could
one,
maybe
Rampager two,
go a bit more if we
Rampager
add a
is,
bit more support,
first
or
of
if
all,
I find
Nerval
some more
first
things in the
will
future.
allow me to
And
add-
that's it, really.
add Tri-Brigade monster that will be Keras, and then
And so,
the
let's
Rampager
head
will
on
allow me
to the conclusion where we are
to
now.
add,
And so,
Tri-Brigade spell or trap.
I'll conclude that
So I'll
this
be
deck,
adding the
it's a
hammer
fun deck, that I've
And then
made.
I'll
I
be
got the new
returning
support in
the
the
monster that was
Doom
added
Dimension
to the deck.
set, which came out
At
recently
this point,
for
I will
Tri-Brigade.
set these two
And
cards.
yeah, it's just a fun deck,
Right.
to play. It's not really meta-defining.
And my turn,
But,
the effect of
with all the
Flavian,
floodgates
because
and
it's
things
special
going
summoned
on in the
from the
current
deck,
meta scene,
we will
I don't
then
expect
set
this to do anything.
the
Just a fun
monster
deck to
negate,
play at your locals,
which will
and
be
that's about it.
Chariot
So
right
tune in next time as I'll talk about more things
And
on this channel.
there
Hope to see you soon.
And there. But what we would do is we would link those two off, get ourselves the Daruma, or at this point we just get Farajit, whatever it is that's needed, and then, but really we would make the Daruma there, and then we would end our turn. So on our opponent's turn, it would be extremely interesting, as we would activate Revolt when they've made a board. You know the general idea. Bring back the Mauser, bring back the Laquiari, and bring back the Nerval. We would then link those those cards off, get ourselves the Shureg. Basically, this would be the Book of Moon. This would then be the Search, which would be absolutely great, fantastic, and several things would happen here. And then you've got to remember, we still have plays for days here. We still have as well Hammer, which can be activated, and we can, on our opponent's turn, link summon into the Bucephalus too. So that is still a possibility. That is still something that can be done. And we have a Mercenary Gate as well. So it's not without fault. It's not without equal. There are things that can be done here. Great, great stuff. And that's generally it with the 3 test hands. So yeah.
Chapter 6.
She's what cool as a cucumber.
Final chapter.
We come to the end of this video. So, as I like to say, you are one step closer to becoming a Yu-Gi-Oh! Master. My fate, right, is in your hands.